The only thing that teachers' unions are saying is that taxpayer dollars ought not go to these private, unaccountable institutions. And that is a very simple request.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I wanted to talk about how the Republican Party just really attacked teachers last week during their debate. And, you know, I know that that's an issue that's very, very close to Adam. He said that he did not watch the Republican presidential debate. And so I have a couple of clips about teachers that I wanted to play and get Adam's reaction to. So let's play this first one.
The only way we change education in this nation is to break the backs of the teachers' unions. They are standing in the doorhouse of our kids, locking them into failing schools and locking them out of the greatest future they could have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, kind of disturbing to see the use of civil rights imagery as like a way to propose busting labor and declaring war on the educators, the dedicated men and women in the classroom who are trying to help these young folks, and to use civil rights imagery and language around that it's just insulting, I think, to everyone involved, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he is likening the people who are trying to protect public education, who are opposed to public dollars being diverted from public schools and going into private schools and going into religious schools and going into these, in some states, literally unaccountable institutions that don't have an obligation to teach everybody in their community, that don't have an obligation to educate and care for students with disabilities or students from poor backgrounds, right? Or students who have parents who are not, who are not straight, a straight couple, a straight married couple. In the case of religious institutions, you can have children turned away because their parents are gay, right? And so, teachers' unions, they're not even saying their opposition is not even to private education, right? Nobody is going around. None of the teachers' unions across the country are going around and saying it ought to be illegal for Catholic churches to have schools. It ought to be illegal for Baptist churches to have schools. It ought to be illegal for the rich and wealthy to create their own, private academy islands or whatever, okay?
Oh, and it is in some other countries, just so we're clear.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that to say that maybe that.
I'm just saying, like, no teachers unions are advocating for that.
Right. Even though that maybe they're. we could talk about the merits and demerits of that policy maybe if that ever gets on the table. But right now it is not. The only thing that teachers unions across the country are saying with respect to this issue is that taxpayer dollars ought not go to these private, unaccountable institutions. And that is a very, very simple request. That is a very simple statement of values, right? That's something that, in fact, actually most people agree with. And so to paint teachers, educators, as Bull Connor is gross. I mean, really, really gross. And Tim Scott is not the only person who is doing this on the debate stage.
Tim Scott knows exactly what he's doing, and it is very insulting to use the civil rights, language and imagery to advance an agenda that is ultimately aligned with segregation. It's just messed up.
Right.
Don't appreciate you, Tim Scott.
No, not at all. But he, like I said, he wasn't the only one on the debate stage attacking teachers. There was somebody else. Let's play this clip.
Tim's right, by the way, and I started this in 2010 by going right after the teachers' unions in New Jersey and drove them down to an all-time low popularity rating because they were putting themselves before our kids. That is the biggest threat to our country, not UFOs.
Okay.
Teachers' unions are the biggest threat to the country, you know, because they're advocating for decent salaries, decent working conditions, smaller class sizes,
Right.
nurses in every building, counselors for every student.
Right.
Because they're advocating for the needs of the students and the educators that serve those students, they're a threat. That's how they want you to see them.
Yeah. Exactly. So,
You know, I'm not surprised to hear it from them, of course, but you know, I almost appreciate the honesty, though.
yeah.
Almost. I mean, I'm not going to give them any credit, but you know, I do prefer that. I'd rather you just be upfront about it. We've obviously seen a lot of Democrats over the last, you know, however many years, who love to show up to the teachers union conventions, who love to get their PAC contributions, but then we're happy to also help promote agendas of privatization
Right.
and corporate education reform, you know, so at least, you know, yeah, at least they're explicit about it. You know, again, why is it that they're opposed to the teachers union? Would they, you know, they're not going to be very honest about that it stands in the way of their agenda of profit.
Right.
They're not going to be honest about the fact that they want teachers to be paid less. They think teachers deserve less health care. They think that teachers deserve bigger class sizes. So, you know,
Yeah.
they're not going to admit that.
Yeah, and you know, and obviously, you know, I mean, the idea that teachers just have it too good and too easy is just such a kind of laughable thing, you know.
Anyone who's worked in education knows, you know.
Or anybody who knows anybody who's worked in education.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I'm not really interested in, you know, folks who traffic in those narratives, I think know what they're doing.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.